Welcome to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast, the show that offers you tips and strategies to help speakers build the business of their dreams. Now here's your host, 30-year industry veteran and business coach, Jane Atkinson.
Well, welcome everyone to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. I'm your host, Jane Atkinson, and if you have read my book, The Wealthy Speaker 3.0, you know the story of my next guest, my former client, Ryan Estis. Welcome back to the show, Ryan.
Jane, it's good to see you, and always good to be with you.
I was thinking about what it feels like to talk to you, and the analogy that popped in my head was like putting on an old slipper, which isn't very attractive, but it's just so comfortable. It's just so nice and familiar, and I'm so grateful for you being here. A lot has transpired in your business since we last spoke on this podcast. And by the way, if you go to speakerlauncher.com, click on podcasts and search Ryan, you will see Evolution of a Seven-Figure Speaker, all of the things, several of the recordings that we've done previously, some of which, thank you, Ryan, have been our highest rated podcasts. Now, today we're talking about holding your mindset amid crisis and uncertainty. We are in the fall of 2025. A lot is going on politically. A lot is going on economically. A lot is going on behind the scenes for you. Give us a snapshot of this year business-wise compared to last year. Is it up or down from last year? How are you doing?
Yeah, it's up. We're actually going to have a record year in my practice.
Woohoo! Congratulations to you and Lynn.
Lynn is a rock star, as you know, my business manager. She's outstanding, and a lot of the credit does go to her. But yeah, I think we made some philosophical shifts and some upgrades, and that created some momentum. And you know, we're a year out from a new book and a big brand upgrade, a new website, and a new body of work. And I think that has definitely resonated in the marketplace. You can see the behind me there, strategically placed.
Wait, hang on. For people who are only listening, tell me what you're pointing to.
Yeah, so I'm pointing to the bookshelf in my office behind me with the one book facing forward as mine, Prepare for Impact.
Prepare for Impact, which was released when, Ryan?
It was released a little over a year ago.
Okay. Now, you and I had, oh my gosh, I don't know how many discussions about, hey, Ryan, you should do a book. Was I right or was I right? Come on, give me some props here.
Absolutely right, 100% right. And it was a procrastination project for sure, for all the reasons that people procrastinate something they want to do. But I will share honestly. I probably miscalculated the impact that would have. You know, part of my thesis was I am a writer. I just publish differently. You know, I publish a newsletter every other week. I'm a regular blogger. I create a lot of video content. But there's something different about a deeper point of view at a particular moment in time. And, the book, it's done really well.
That's great.
We sell them around every keynote. We use them in our sales and marketing engine. And honestly, it's like anything else you do the first time. You enter into it, you make mistakes, you don't know how to do it, but you figure it out, and then now you know how to do it. And so
you're going to do it again. I remember the very first time I published The Wealthy Speaker version 1, which was, I don't know, in the 90s or something. And somebody had said to me, you know, like I went to the psychic and she said, oh, you're going to write a bunch of books. And I'm like, oh, no. I got that one out. It was like birthing a child. I am so finished. Well, little did I know that lodged in the back of my mind that I was going to do more. And 6 books later, here we are. But I do feel like I'm finished now. So you have number 2 teed up. I just talk about the specifics of I read your book and now I want you to hire you to speak to my people, or using the book as a calling card to say, this is a good book, you should have this speaker come in, or, how have you used it for marketing, and how many gigs do you think you actually got as a result of it?
Well, I think it's part of an overall market
Hmm.
strategy. So it's one lever to pull, but I will tell you, any inquiry that comes in through the website, through a channel partner, through a referral or relationship, our first move is to get that book in their hands.
Nice. So, overnight the book and they are impressed
Exactly.
immediately.
Had a sales call 2 hours ago, and 3 books are going out FedEx today. And so
Yeah.
another touch point of value. And I'll reference things specific to the book based on the context of that conversation. So the call I had 2 hours ago, chapter 6 really unpacks the solve to their problem. So you point that out, you put a sticky note, hey, if you don't have time to look at the whole thing, go to chapter 6. This is
Yes.
really how we'll co-create the curriculum for your event. And so I'm layering in
Oh,
value
good.
through a decision process that I believe
Yes.
gives me an advantage. Now that there's other pieces to the decision puzzle for sure, but it's a lovely touch point. And then clients, they buy books and they want you at your event to network and
Yeah.
connect and do a book signing, and we use it as part of our aftercare package too. So even if somebody doesn't buy books, we'll
Hmm.
give a chapter of our book away just based on what's most relevant to the event, to what I present,
Nice.
so the education can continue. And
Yeah.
those nuances, I think, give us an advantage in a lot of competitive selling situations.
Yeah. And rather than calling it a book signing, you can call it an autograph session. And it kind of raises, I would say, and for people who don't know you, Ryan is what I would call an industry celebrity. And that is true, right? Ryan, people say hi to you in the airport constantly. This is you have a level of recognition now that most speakers don't have. And when we use that celebrity by leveraging a book and say, and he can stay and do an autograph session, which allows people to engage with you in a different way. So they put a book under everybody's seat. It's pre-purchased. There's no Ryan flogging books at the back of the room necessarily. It's really just something that levels you up and separates you from all of the other speakers who do not have books. And I think you'll just continue to grow that idea. And I think it's fantastic. So I want to, for people who don't know you, your fee is somewhere north of 30,000. I don't know exactly what. We don't have to give exact numbers. Tell me what number of engagements you're looking at delivering in a year right about now.
70, 75 is sort of the sweet
Oof,
spot for
that's
me.
high still. You're still,
Yeah, I will tell you, I sort of fell in love with it all over again.
oh, that's nice.
In a really beautiful way. I think the book was part of that. I really started to develop a new thesis on both sales and leadership, which are my domain categories. Writing the book was a labor of love, but it wasn't always easy. But I'm really proud of the way we did it and how it turned out. And I'm also healthier. I got into a big health kick about a year ago at a new
Oh,
doctor.
nice.
I have this renewed energy, and traveling doesn't wear me out. As long as I have breaks, I just feel a level of gratitude and honoring of this work that I hadn't felt. Maybe I was a little burned out in a few years,
Yes.
but renewed ideas, new content, something different to talk about, something that I believe is core to my soul that I came here to do
Yeah.
makes me want to go serve. So yeah,
Love that.
I just got back from, 3 flights, connections, getting in at 1 a.m., and I'm back up at
Yes.
6, working out and ready to go again next week. And I don't know, maybe that won't last forever. And
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is, all of that creates demand, right? Because now
Yes.
I'm even more in the work. I think I'm better on the platform. I believe so deeply in the ideas, and they're original ideas. They're ideas that nobody else has. And
Yes.
all of that, I mean, I'll share this. this is through the rest of this year and next year, we have over 70 holds on my calendar. So when you
Wow.
think about the demand generation from that energy, that's we've never had that kind of ever that level of engagement. So
So I'm going to set a vision for you today for 50 at 50. I don't know
uh,
what your fee's at exactly right now,
not
but
that I can tell you
doesn't
that.
50 at 50 just sound nice? And it leaves you lots of time for wakeboarding on the back of that beautiful boat of yours. The minute I saw you doing that, I kind of breathed a sigh of relief. I like, oh, thank God, he's taking some time. I've worried about you burning out, of course, over time. And I think speakers go through a version of the dark night of the soul when they've delivered the same presentation hundreds of times. It can become a burden, and the speaking business can be very lonely.
Islam. That there's no doubt about that. And so
Yeah.
I've really post COVID, I really made a big investment in relationships, community. I live in community. I have a
Yes.
vibrant, active community.
Yeah.
Nurture those relationships, family, close friends. I make time for them,
Yeah.
and I take breaks for sure. Look, 50 at 50 would be great for a couple reasons. One, some more white space, but we're also growing an adjacent deliverable next to my business, our keynotes. Today it's called the Growth Lab. I think there's some energy about
Love
rebrand
that.
and launching it. And so we are getting into deeper engagements with our
Yeah.
clients. And I'll
That's like
share
consulting. That I would consider that consulting work. Yes.
facilitation, training, and consulting. So I'll
Yeah.
I'll do a 2-day executive meeting and I'll be a
Yeah.
facilitator, synthesizing ideas, driving a strategic
Yeah.
conversation. And it's a variety in the work that I actually love. And so having different kinds of ways to deliver expertise, to create value, to build these relationships. The other thing about my client roster that I think is worth mentioning to the listeners.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So record year, 70 dates or around there, and 40% of that business comes from my existing client roster. So there
Yeah.
are people who are hiring me again that are coming back after 3 or 4 years with the new book
Hmm.
message. And the thing about it is I never give the same keynote twice. I'm pretty deep into the customization and I have a
Right.
process for how I do it. So my energy and excitement, I'm constantly learning about this business and this industry and their culture and their growth strategy. And so
Yeah. You love business. And so it shows on the stage in your passion. Beautiful. Okay. So you have spin-off is a huge part of your, let's say, marketing mechanism. Spin-off. Are there some other tools that you're using? So you write, you do video posting. Like, talk to us just about, and I also want to circle back and I'm sure people are asking, well, who the heck are those 70? Who the heck are those 70 holds with? Like, let's do a deep dive on what types are these Fortune 100 companies, people that can afford you. Who would surprise you the most about your client roster that you
well,
wouldn't think could afford you?
yeah. So we've had events um, with some of the smallest companies. So
Mm.
I'll give you an example. So I did a half-day workshop in Mansfield, Texas on this Tuesday for 40 people, salespeople for a company you've never heard of called Metro Fire Apparatus, this tiny little company. I was in a breakout room in the Mansfield Public Safety Building. I just plugged my laptop in. They had the little setup for AV and 40 people. They paid my full fee. Now, how
So,
how did I get on their radar screen? Well, this is my philosophical shift. So
okay.
I think a lot of speakers and thought leaders, and myself included for many years, would think, okay, how am I going to get the next gig? Where am I going to get booked? How do I create the booking? And I started to just realize that it would be way better if the speaking opportunities found me.
For sure.
the marketing, the growth strategy is to insert myself into line of sight. When a client like Metro Fire begins their search, I want them to meet Ryan Estis. And you say, okay, well, how would you ever do something like that? Well, I would invite anybody listening to go on onto Google and pretend
Mhm.
you want to hire a sales keynote speaker for your conference.
Okay.
Whatever you want. Sales keynote speaker is a fine search string, and see if you meet Ryan Estes. And
Okay.
my bet is you will. And then that is the introduction. Now, that introduction could go a variety of ways. It could come into the website. A bureau could get a phone call. Hey, we found this guy. But
Mhm.
I realized that the way technology and the search for a thought leader, a speaker, a consultant, a partner is happening both in the search engines and now through, AI, that I had to be in that conversation. And when someone meets me, I have to engage them with relevant content, great thinking, video, materials, the book. So all of that shift in, hey, we're going to, we're really good at outbound and we're really
Mhm.
good at closing sales. Lynn is one of the best in the world,
Genius.
but I need to be in more of those conversations. And Metro Fire, this tiny little company who you would think, wait, they have 120 employees total. And
Wow.
they just paid your fee for not a keynote, but a half day. Yes.
Yes.
And how did he find me? Google.
So, what I would call that is like strengthening your marketing magnet. You are attracting more people to you. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to mindset. That I have call after call with my groups or with my one on one clients, and they're saying, I don't know where to find the clients. And your idea is about being of service in your space so that you will attract the people who are a right fit for you and find business in unexpected places.
Yeah, I would actually say I used to ask that question. How do I find the next gig? I would say that's the wrong question.
What is it? Tell us the new question.
The better question is how can I make sure the right clients are finding me?
Ah, how can I? Okay, Monica, that's our pull quote. How can I make sure the right clients are finding me? And okay, let's also put a note in that you are how many years into this now?
17. So
17
it took me
years.
16 years to figure this out.
16 years in the making. Year 17, he becomes an overnight success. No,
Yeah, right.
but I do want to say that years one, two, and three, maybe more than that, I don't even know, were you at your kitchen table smiling and dialing. Like
100%.
you were such a hardcore seed planter, I guess, for lack of a better term, in the early days. And you did go through, and I would say that due to perhaps the mindset not being locked down, you might have gotten in some partnerships in years 1 through 5 that you didn't need.
Yeah, you were with me on that journey. You're like, what? I'm like, but Gene, I can't make it. I was terrified. Look, it looks good now from the outside, but you walked with me through the seasons of doubt and insecurity and uncertainty and figuring things out for the first time. And that's just the truth. And I used to be uncomfortable talking about this. Why didn't I publish a book? Because I was scared and insecure and I didn't think people would want to read it and I didn't know how and I didn't know how to turn a blog post into a chapter and on and on. And so,
Mhm.
I had to work through all of that internal discomfort,
Right.
doubt, first time. And what I always felt was like I could see a good keynote, I could see a good business, but I just wasn't there. And so a little bit of grace, a little bit of patience, a little bit of support from someone like you, and I was able to effectively navigate those seasons and decisions and re-engineer some perhaps missteps at the onset. But the idea that you're going to go on this journey and never make a mistake or wish you were in a place it's just unreal. You know that, and it's
Okay.
unreal.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm going kind of through a little bit of a dark time in my own business, trying to sort out. I know now what I don't want. And so
Mm.
I'm letting go of some more areas of my business. And I'm actually adding personal coaching, which is all about mindset and imposter syndrome and all of the things, because I think it's so important. People can't get out. If people can't get out of their own way, it's going to take them years longer to actually have success.
Yeah, I think you're touching on the most critical component of this business, which is, the narrative you tell yourself, your own self-belief, your identity, your relationship to your work, your relationship to yourself. And I remember early on, you sent me a gift, and I still have it. It was a stuffed animal of a lion. And I was like, you were like, what
Oh, yeah.
strongest and you're most confident and you get it. I said, I'm like a lion. That's my spirit animal. And then I shrink into this fearful lamb that's afraid and I can't hit send on the blog post because I don't want to get criticized. And so just all of those feelings are normal.
Yes.
And every human has them and they manifest in different ways. But I think where you go to process that and investigate that and understand it is critical. And I have a life coach too, and I think the he's not an expert in speaking, my coach.
No.
He's an expert in the study of oneself. He was studying to
Yes.
be a monk. He's spiritual, but he
That's
can
nice.
ground me in my own self-awareness and my relationship to things and investigate where's that doubt coming from and what evidence do you have that you should believe. And so, you
Yeah.
know, having support in a business that is can be very isolating. It's the
Yeah.
best it's the best investment I've ever made is an investment in me.
Mm, I
I'm the
love
product.
that. Now, we've talked about how you really wanted to surround yourself in community,
Yeah.
and you did a really amazing job of that with Impact 11. And you've talked to me privately about having had three mountains. Do you want to talk about your three mountains and just kind of share whatever feels comfortable? Because this is something that's a little dodgy because it's going to court. And I just want you to say what you want to say about it.
Yeah, well, the three mountains represent sort of three difficult chapters of my professional career. And the first
Okay.
one held my hand through, which was the exit of my corporate career to the kitchen table to do something new. And I had no
Mhm.
experience doing that. And it was terrifying. And I did it during the Great Recession, 08, 09. So
Yeah.
the world was on fire and everyone was losing jobs. And people were like, wait, you're going to quit this good job and do what?
Yeah.
And was mountain number one. Mountain number two, I think everybody listening can relate to. I come off my best year in 2019, tons of momentum, 2020 starts, and then pandemic, and my business goes to zero. And it was during that time that I actually really felt into this idea of community at home, community at work, and the genesis of partnering, masterminding, and being in community. And so that was the idea to sort of invest in and become part of what became Impact 11, which was a thought leadership accelerator. It was a community of professional speakers. And I think it was beautiful. I mean, and unfortunately, that community has ended due to a really difficult situation of internal misconduct and fraud. And so navigating that has been, I think it's been devastating for all the participants, myself included, because
Mhm.
there's a loss of something. But what I've realized through this is while there is a loss, and it's painful, the beauty out of those experiences does endure. The relationships do endure. I mean,
Good.
you walked me out of exiting a job I was in for 16 years. You were there with me the night before I resigned on a coaching. That why you said it felt like an old slipper today is because we have that history 17 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember that night. I couldn't sleep. I slept for about 40 minutes and then I got up and called my boss. Then I sent you a text. Then I called my brother And it's like, did I just make the biggest mistake of my life? Is it the worst thing that ever happened to me? What's going to happen to me? And there's all this uncertainty. And so on the third mountain, I'm back in a place of a little uncertainty. And there's emotions that come with that. There's loss, but the reality is you don't know what the future holds yet.
Yeah.
That part hasn't been written. And while there are certain things I don't control, and this was, I think, an extreme set of circumstances that was really unexpected and unfortunate, I have agency over the relationships and the learning and where I can go from here. And so I hold those things in difficult moments. And you have to have some perspective around it too. I mean, you can look around the world. You don't have to look far to say there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of misfortune, and there's a lot of
Mhm.
unexpected challenges we have to navigate. And so I hold on to the fact that I have great relationships, a great practice, great friends,
Yeah.
have my health, and we'll move forward from that.
Let's
Yeah.
move on from that to
Good,
happier
good.
times, because I would really like to lock down the idea of mindset. Talk to me about, you've made this shift, and I'm thinking right before the shift might have been some pain of some other making. This philosophical shift that you've made to become more of a magnet. Has it ever felt for you? And I'm wondering if our listeners can totally relate to this, that, oh man, I'm tired of the hustle. I'm tired of that, like, and you're a sales guy. So I don't know if the sales guys get burnt out on the hustle, like, because the idea of being a magnet is so, it helps me breathe a sigh of relief, because I feel after I've been doing this for over 30 years, but in my own business for over 20, and I feel like I'm a little bit tired of the hustle.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I also think the hustle had diminishing returns. I think we're
Ah.
living in a world where, there's so much noise online and everything starts to look and sound the same because it's been
Mm.
artificially generated, and people's, wake up and delete 100 spam emails a day, and they don't
Yes.
know, nobody picks up the phone and returns calls. And so the efforts that we were making 17 years ago weren't producing the desired outcome. And so we just had to get more sophisticated and intelligent about it. And, because we built up a great archive of content, we're in a time in the world where that content and that archive can be optimized in a way that provides certain advantages. And so understanding that, educating ourselves, having partnerships that sort of unlock that. And one of the lessons from this is, we came out with the book, launched our new brand, website, demo video, all these things, and the floodgates didn't open. And I
Oh.
thought, what in the world? Like, we spent all this time, resources, 2 years writing this book, big launch of the website, and it wasn't a rush of demand. What I realized was we didn't turn it on. Like, it was in the world, but it wasn't optimized. And so
Oh.
optimizing all of that, creating landing pages, optimizing the content, buying ads, being strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Us
So
in a
let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit of buying ads. Uh, you're doing Google advertising? And give me like a rough monthly spend, that maybe you don't do it every single month, but if you were going to really do a big push for something, what kind of money would you spend?
I mean, look, we have a firm that's on retainer, but just on the ad spend itself, like 5 grand, it's not crazy. But what we're very precisely looking at are
Mm-hmm.
what are the search strings or areas that we can own, and so
Yeah.
look, take leadership, for example. Do you know what it would cost to be, if someone typed in leadership speaker? Like, so that's not accessible to me.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
accessible to sales. And
Sales.
so, because it's a smaller, right? And so often I walk through the door of an introduction to a client through sales, but then they
Mm.
see everything else that I'm capable of doing.
They're like, oh,
Yeah, and so I decided I want to be the most optimized sales keynote speaker in the world. And
I
if you are
love that.
interested in a sales keynote speaker, you're go and start looking for one, you're going to meet me. And then the introduction, the first impression I create will then determine where the relationship goes. But that's way better than me reaching out or telling Lynn to say, hey, get me a keynote at Target Corporation.
Yeah,
That's an uphill battle.
it
And
really
so
is.
yeah, we have some advantages because we've been doing this for 17 years, averaging, in the beginning years it was less, but let's say 50 to 50 plus keynotes a year for 17 years. That's a lot of clients. That's a lot of relationships. That's a lot of referral activity if you
Yes.
leverage that right. So we put things in place even around our process and what we do after an event that
Yeah.
helps hold the right kind of relationships.
Yeah. And you talk about your aftercare program, which is really, really important. This could be a big turning point for me in the way I coach, Ryan, because I do believe, I think in my heart, I'm out teaching, hey guys, it's just a numbers game. We got to put out the numbers. And I think I'm going to shift that to how do we become a magnet? Because it's such a beautiful visual, becoming a magnet. And if we were to advise people on, let's give them the top three things that can make you magnetic. I'm going to assume that most speakers are not going to be able to afford 5K a month for Google Ads. So let's just take that off the table for them. What are some things that you can do? If you had your time back, even 5 years probably, right? When it started to get super duper noisy, what would be the three things that you would invest your time and energy in?
Well, I certainly believe that content is king. Like
Yeah.
if you're a thought leader, you have to be introducing the world to your thinking. And so I think writing serves a very practical tool. One, it helps you organize your thoughts. Two, it helps you crystallize a unique point of view. And three, it gives people an introduction. And there are all kinds of ways to distribute that content intelligently. So yeah, well, we generate activity from LinkedIn all the time. It's a
Yes.
great platform for me. It's where professionals go to connect and network. So there's
Yes.
a lot of utility there. And because we're speakers, video is important. So YouTube. So activating it, organizing and optimizing those, to me, those two platforms work really well.
Okay.
And then
LinkedIn and YouTube.
and then your own platform, your website, that people who find me, even if someone finds me before they are get really engaged, they're going to go there, and the impression you create there is critical. So having that buttoned up, and then if you're producing enough content, you ultimately start to get organic lift and
Yes.
ranking. And if you build your network up on LinkedIn, mine's north of 20,000. So I'm publishing regularly every week. And so people are paying attention to that
Yeah.
and that influences. So it really is an ecosystem.
And how much are you personally engaging with the comments and things like that?
Yeah, I do personally engage with the
Hmm.
comments. I mean, it's not a heavy lift and a ton of time, and I don't get thousands of comments,
Hmm.
but I have a marketing partner that we have a publishing schedule, and it's a simple. One of the things I'm going to do this afternoon is they're going to interview me like this. So we'll
Okay.
pick a couple topics that are relevant to me. It could come from out of the book. It could come from, by the way, here's a trick. It could come from what people are searching on the search engine. So reverse engineer everything. What are
Yes.
people what problems are people solving? What are they looking for? What do they need? And then let's create content around that. Another thing I've been known to do is I'll be at a sales call. A client will say, we're really having trouble with this. Well, 24 hours later, I publish an article that solves their problem, send it to that client while they're making a decision. So I'm constantly in that energy.
That
But
is so good. What you just said was a real ding, ding, ding.
yeah, I mean,
That
that's how we hustle
and
intelligently.
and can we, yeah, let's talk about intelligence because artificial intelligence, you have this whole book. And let's say the client has this problem. You can take it out to AI and say, here's my book. The client has this problem. Give me 350 words My words, and that's the important part of this equation, by the way, that you're starting with your own intellectual property and you're having AI zhuzh it up. You're having them put it into, I mean, the way AI comes back to me in some ways, I am just blown away. And I have clients finding me through AI now. So I'm like super excited about that. So I keep AIing myself to see, well, what would you say about me? And then I get all this stuff and I'm like, damn, that's good. Like it just impresses me so much. And you're getting my juices flowing about this because I really think that this podcast is going to be one that goes down into our history books of something that was just absolutely game changing for a lot of people in their mindset and their attitude. And I am one of the people who has been delivering. It's a numbers game. Get out there more, plant more seeds, call more people, email more people. And I have been frustrated by that because my clients aren't getting the same types of results as you are. And you have made this philosophical shift. Brilliant, Ryan. Brilliant.
Well, I'll take it even further. So AI as an example, and this may be relevant for you, to be honest. So we run experiments to see what works, what doesn't. Did we get some traction? We iterate, make it better. So the whole AI thing, I just said to your point, well, you take your thought leadership, put it into AI. So we were doing that, and then I said, well, what if we took all our thought leadership and made a custom AI Ryan, and then we could just introduce clients to AI Ryan and said, ask AI Ryan a question about what you're dealing with and see what he says. I'll even do this on the stage when I'm speaking sometimes. Like, get out your phone. I want to introduce you to AI Ryan. AI
This is
Ryan
like
goes,
masters, by the way, everybody. This is masters level stuff. Like that is such a great idea.
you can go to my website and just chat with a. Now, look, we've educated AI Ryan also to not answer certain questions. He doesn't talk about politics. He doesn't talk about religion. He doesn't give romantic advice. He's into this bot. And so, but if you have a question about
I
something,
love that he's not giving romantic advice.
he's not qualified to do that. Uh, but real Ryan may not be either, but that's a different.
That's so funny.
But he is expert in the disciplines of professional sales and human-centered leadership. And
Oh
so,
my God.
question
How did,
and
give me like a couple of steps on how to do that. And I'm actually going to take it to the chat bot and ask it, what are the steps to creating your own AI bot? Is that the right words?
yeah, the real key, they're easy to create, but the real key is the educational component.
Yeah, you
So
have to feed it all the info.
right. And so the whole thing is you really do have to be, as you are, a thought leader. You have books and you have blog posts and podcasts and all
Mm,
these things that sort of demonstrate your point of view. And so
mm.
that you have to educate the bot to think. But here's the cool thing. The bot can remember something I wrote 7 years ago in 3 seconds. Guess who can't? Real Ryan. So, I'm preparing for a speech and I get the audience talking to AI Ryan while I'm on stage and we have a joke to see who's smarter. And, I'm like, we're gonna get to the Q&A and you're not even gonna want to ask me questions. And it's funny, but it shows where this is going. And
Yes.
what's left for me, what AI Ryan can't do is he can't, he, no, he
Heart,
doesn't have empathy and emotional
heart.
intelligence. And
Yes.
he doesn't have perceptive listening skills, and he can't give you a hug,
Yeah.
and he can't write a book with my brother, and so
Yeah.
it's the blend of these two things that I think create a dynamic and robust practice, and it's elevated me as a speaker. The whole thing we do on stage is wild and fun. People
That
start
is so
cracking up.
cool.
Like it's wild.
I love it. Ryan, now I want to do something with you. So I'm going to talk to you offline
Okay,
about that
good.
because I am like chomping at the bit to do something that excites me and, in terms of some sort of live event. Okay. We
Well,
had
we've done
taken
it, we've done it once, and it was remember in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis will
Good.
go down in history as one of my favorite live events.
Mm.
And I need to figure out a way that I don't know. I just need to figure out something.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Okay, so this was like a reverse coaching call for
Oh,
me. Thank you so much. You've inspired me. Your new philosophy has got me jazzed. And I would like to hear from our listeners. Email me, jane@speakerlauncher.com, if this has had impact on you as well, because I'm vibrating right now and I'm super, super excited. Where would you like? Okay, first they need to go get the book. Tell us the title and subtitle of the book again.
yeah, it's here. We'll grab it. It's a little visual. Um, so the book is Prepare for Impact. It's
Prepare for it.
driving growth and serving others through the principles of human-centered leadership. And it's really two halves. The first half of the book is all about sales and growth, and I think would be relevant to anybody that's trying to sell anything,
Yes,
including and coaching. And
yes.
then the second half of the book really are the principles to what I believe is the future of leadership. We call it human-centered. We have a motto. We unpack 9 principles, and I'm really
Um,
proud of the book. I wrote it with my brother Chad, and we dedicated it to mom, and it was a labor of love, and it's done really well. So
okay. LinkedIn, is that the best place for people to come and connect with you?
LinkedIn, Connect. I'm an open networker, and you can see how we use it too to
Yeah,
grow
I
our.
would like people to start following you on LinkedIn so that they can see what you're posting. And
Estis.com if you want to see the website and sort of how we've organized it, how we organized our
yeah,
keynote pages, subtopics, video, how it our point
okay.
of view. It's
I'm going to
probably
say it again because you kind of cut out there. It's Ryan Estis, ESTIS.com. We are going to be running our best website. This is what had me up at 3 in the morning last night. We are going to be running our best website contest again this year. And so I just want to like put that out there. And now I have to hold myself accountable and actually do it. So keep an eye out. You know, it could be that somebody submits Ryan's and who knows where that will land. Ryan, thank you so much. I have no other words other than thank you, my friend. I am super, super grateful that you took the time today to talk with us. Any final words you'd like to say to our listeners?
Yeah, there is. And it may be for the listeners, but it's directly to you. I appreciate the reflection back, and I'm glad you're vibrating with new ideas, and we'll see where all this goes. But I want you to know this conversation would not be possible if it were not for you. You were the
Oh,
catalyst. I get emotional.
oh,
I this was on my heart to do this. Both my parents were teachers, and I wanted to teach and serve. And I think back 16, 17 years ago when I still had my job and you were my coach. And I hired Jane, and the listeners should know this. I hired Jane before I was a speaker, not after.
like a
I
year, wasn't it? A year
yeah,
before,
one
maybe?
year I was an executive, and I said, "Hey, I read her book, and I said, hey, I want to hire you to see if I actually am good enough to do this." And she said, "Well, that's not kind of how it works." But we went on this journey of sort of navigating how I could prepare to do this. But honestly, it was more about my overcoming my fear and my internal resistance to take a risk and bet on me. And I just think I don't know if I ever would have done it had I not met you.
Oh,
And so to think about the life I got to live, the places I got to go, the people I got to meet, and the millions of people that I got to share my ideas with because you believed in me, and I got to borrow your belief in myself until mine caught up enough to take a shot. And just know, like, yeah, I'll always show up on this because I'll always be forever grateful for what you did.
oh, goodness. You made my day, you made my week, you made my month, maybe my year. Thank you so much, Ryan, for your kind words. I get emotional when I think about what's gone on in your life and business, and I only wish the best for you moving into this next chapter, which is uber exciting, if you ask me. Thank you for listening. Those of you who've been here a little bit longer than we normally do, I think you'll find it was worth it. And for that, we're going to say, see you soon, wealthy speakers. Bye for now, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast. If you need help building the speaking business of your dreams, head over to wealthyspeakerschool.com and take advantage of our 20-minute next step call. Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Speaker Podcast.